Hey, what's up, guys? So I feel like it's been a while since the last time we just hung out and did a live stream. I've been busy with videos and traveling and vacation and family and all that kind of stuff. And so I figured it was kind of like hop on and chat. And so I've got maybe half an hour or so ish, I'm thinking, until my daughter wakes up. I got the audio monitor here. And so I figured in the meantime, let's just hang out and chat and talk about whatever you want to talk about. And I figured kind of while things are getting going, people are joining, quick updates as far as things over the weekend. So I guess the big thing these days has been Uniden R8, the power off issues. So I guess starting off with that, uh, a bunch of people have been getting their detectors in, so we've been getting some more data. And a big shout out to Wireless Andy on RDF. He's actually been tracking every single report for different R8s, different serial numbers, as well as if the detectors have been good or if they've been problematic. So far, let's see, he's logged 37 Uniden R8s, and 4 of them that he's logged have failed. So far, we're at about an 11% failure rate. I'm sure we'll start to get better data as we start getting more and more R8s in. So that's kind of where things stand so far. I know with the V1, for example, we were logging that too. It was around a third of detectors, around a 30% failure rate for the first ones, and that got taken care of. So with the R8, it seems like it's better than the V1 stuff, and not to single those two out, but they're just two that come to mind as far as people have been logging these two. I don't know if anybody logged stuff with like the red lines initial issues, but anyway, that's where things seem to stand so far. I'm glad to see it's not like 50% or 80% or anything like that. So we're at about 11 so far. That's going to continue to change as we get more people with detectors reporting their stuff in. But anyway, shout out to Wireless Andy for keeping track of all that. And hey to everybody who's joining. So just me, Momo, Carspear, Manuel, Edwin. What's up, everybody? So yeah, things have been good here. I've been driving around with the Rocky Mountain radar. The Odin, that's actually in the car right now. I've been kind of working on some of the test results from that. I did it like 5 or 6 months ago. I started doing some initial testing right before my son was born. So everything from spectra testing, radar scrambling, laser scrambling, something else. Oh, pop testing. And yeah, spoiler alert, but didn't do great against anything. But my son was born and I put everything on hold, and I've been working on like higher priority stuff like R8, not Rocky Mountain radar, you know? So I'm working on that stuff now. So I've got a bunch of like individual test videos, and then probably this week I'll shoot the review video for that one. Basically, performance stinks. I'm getting a ton of KA falses with that thing, like a lot actually. Worse than I see with like a Whistler or a V1 or anything. Like it's a ton of KA falses. But anyway, I'll have a full review coming of that, and yeah. Let's see. Just Me is asking about Highway Radar. Will it run only on Android phones, or will it also run on an Android tablet? I believe it should run on an Android tablet. I know there is somebody working on an iOS version, but that development seems to have stalled for a while. I know Explore Casper mentioned on a comment, I think yesterday or something, something about he wants to start working on that too. Maybe you can give us a little more info. But yeah, Highway Radar, it's Android phones and I guess Android tablets too, assuming you have GPS and an internet connection. But nothing for iOS. Us iPhone, well, I guess we iPhone users are kind of left out with some of these apps like JBV1 and Highway Radar and stuff, you know. So I know the Redenso app, it's still Android only. iOS is still under development. So Android seems to have most of the cool apps for countermeasures for whatever reason. So, Gabe, just wanted to say thanks for all the great content. Hanging on to my R7 until R8 works out the bugs. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm really curious to hear kind of what the story is. Hopefully Uniden can kind of get a sense of what's going on here. I've been talking to them behind the scenes, trying to get some of the defective detectors back to Uniden so they can get a closer look and see what's going on. I don't know if it's a hardware thing, like is there a cable that was loose? I know with the V1, it was actually a software update that was required for some of these issues, which seemed like a hardware update. So some of the stuff is a little surprising, I guess, why this stuff happens. But anyways, I think 2 people that I know of so far have sent their detectors back to Uniden specifically for engineering to have them take a closer look at it. So I'm really curious to see kind of how that unfolds, you know? And I'll, of course, let you know kind of as I get more information and as, yeah, we all kind of put everything together and report what we find. Arnie, will these devices in your reviews work in the UK? I have no idea. They may. I mean, I don't know what guns they use there. There's different radar guns, there's different frequency ranges. You a lot of times have international detectors we don't have in the US. You have international firmwares, like things vary all over the world, so much so that it's not realistic for me to keep track of all that. And I have no way of actually testing a lot of the stuff when you've got completely different radar guns and frequency ranges and use than what we do here. And so I have no idea. You'll need to ask somebody who drives in the UK. If you guys know of any good resources for people in Europe, different countries in Europe, Western or Eastern, or Israel, or the UK, or Africa, or anywhere. I mean, the UAE and Dubai. I mean, those are like common places that people ask, and I'm like, I don't know. You got to ask somebody who drives in your area, So I'm always looking for good resources to direct people to. There's some good resources for Canadians, just because there's a lot of like Canadian people in RDF. I've seen some good international stuff. New Zealand has a pretty good community as well, but I'm definitely looking for more people who I can kind of refer you guys to. If you know of anybody who does something similar to what I do, or at least does some tests or recommendations that are like legit, not just some spammy Amazon nonsensical affiliate program stuff, but like legit good reviewers, that's always what I'm looking for. Let's see, Eric, is it worth waiting for the Redline 360C to come back into stock, or should I get a Max Cam? I think the Redline's a better radar detector, but the Max Cam, it's got some issues still, yes, but primarily on the software side. I've been meaning to do a video kind of like how to have a good experience with the Max Cam, which basically means use the software to set it up and then quit using Drive Smarter. And then in that situation, it's okay. I have heard of somebody having issues with lockouts with the Max Cam, but in general, especially with the price of the Redline going up $50, it's only $50 more to get the Max Cam. And so to get a detector that still has good range, almost as good as a Redline, it seems like better BSM filtering, and a dash cam built in, it might be a good alternative, especially considering the fact that you can't get a Redline, right now. So you can read my reviews and stuff. I've got videos and articles and all that on the Max Cam. It could be a good alternative. I mean, it's not perfect. I always want to talk about the downsides just so I'm not like, go buy a detector and don't be aware of the issues. Like everything's got some issues. So I'm always trying to balance that. But yeah, it can be an alternative for the Redline in a way. I think better than some of the, maybe like the Max 360C or something, which is going to give you even lower performance. The Max Cam seems to have better performance than like the Max 360 or Max 360C. So that's one of the reasons I like it better than the Max 360C series detectors. Home phone, just got my R8, hoping for no screen issues. Awesome. Yeah, if you go ahead, fire it up. It seems like if you do have the screen issues, they do tend to manifest pretty quickly, like within the first day. So give it a shot and then post your experiences on RDF. That's a good place where we're kind of keeping track of like how many of these things are working, how many are failing, and we get a sense of the failure rate. What's up from Edmonton, Keith? Hey, how's it going? Man, Edmonton. Sometimes I wish I lived in Edmonton just so I can get so many encounters to share with you guys on videos of Dragon Eye and MRCD, and I could do so much more testing just to have more enforcement in my area. There's only so much here in Seattle, Come on up. I did come. It was like a 2-day drive from Seattle. Before I had kids, it was a lot easier, but with kids, it's a different story. I've been looking at driving down to Oregon. It's like a 3.5-hour drive or so. Try to spend a day doing testing down there. There's some, but we're still trying to get a sense of what kind of speed camera systems are down there. Let's see. Timothy, laser jammer suggestion to go with the Redline 360C. In general, ALP, straight up way to go. Best jammer, best capabilities, best performance, best updates, best everything. Just it's the best one. It's easier to recommend a jammer than it is a radar detector. There is also the TMG. If you're looking for something more affordable, there's also Escort has some laser jammers. They're not as capable. There's the ZR5 if you want something wired, or the ZW5, which is wireless, no cable running through the firewall, so it makes the installation easier. I've got articles and videos that compare them all, but usually it's just ALP. If you want something else, Escort or TMG, those are options too, or maybe a Stinger. They're fibers to get the little teeny tiny heads. Let's see. Andy, hey from Australia. Hey, a new R3 owner imported from the USA, waiting to get the Aussie firmware update. Are you looking for like the Mithru ones, like the New Zealand ones, or do they have like Australian specific firmwares down there for the R3? I'm curious. Let's see. Motorbikes and memes. Yeah, rolled past 5 cops. None of them were running radar. Had to verify my V1 Gen 2 wasn't broken. I think that's probably one of the biggest questions. People think like, hey, past cops, it didn't go off. And you're like, yeah. It'd be nice if every cop just ran constant on all the time. That'd be great. But yeah, that's not always the case. Let's see. Home phone. Just had my TX blue fail. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Is the black a huge game changer? I don't know if it's a game changer. I mean, the performance is better. It's going to be more future-proof. So the jamming capabilities are better. You can run them like lower down to the ground than you can with the old blue ones. So if you have like a low-slung car, a 911 or a Corvette or something. One of the big things to know about that is besides the improved jamming capabilities, newer firmware versions for the ALP are only going to start supporting, I believe, the Blackhead, or is that the CPU? I forget which. Some of the old hardware is going to start or stop getting supported with new updates. I forget if it's TX head. It may actually be the CPUs. I'd have to double check on that. But live stream, I don't know. A lot of times before I shoot like videos, I go back and research and double check. If any of you guys know in the live stream as far as updates for the TX heads, that would be good. Momo, black helps with sign reflections. That is true. It does a better job for handling reflections when the laser gun is firing back, or sorry, the jammer is firing back. B King, the R8 has GATSO. Is it useful here? I don't know where you're located. I haven't seen a ton of GATSO testing with the Unitons, the R4 or especially the R8. You'd have to reference some of the other tests on RDF to get a sense of photo radar stuff. Thea, when is Thea coming out? No idea. I did a video talking about that recently for like the best Redenso detectors, and it also talks about Thea at the end. Basically, it's supply chain issues. They can't get the FPGAs. They have no idea when they're going to be coming in, and so they're waiting on the parts. We're waiting on Thea. They have no ETA and the part availability. It seems like a lot of the stuff is getting worse in some ways, better in some, worse in others, and so yeah, nobody has any idea. So I believe me, if I knew something concrete to share with you guys, I would give you something, but I don't know either. I'm waiting just like you guys. Fred, can a laser pointer be used to check the laser capability of a Max 360C? No, for two reasons. One, those use like red light. Laser guns and laser jammers, they operate on infrared light around 905 nanometers, so completely different frequency range. Second, they're looking for specific pulse patterns of the laser guns, not just a continuous beam to tell what kind of laser gun it is, to sync with the laser gun. So they're doing more sophisticated analysis of the pulse itself. It's not just a beam turned on. And that's part of the filtering to filter out sunlight or neon lights or cars that have laser-based collision avoidance systems. They're looking at the specific kind of pulse patterns of the laser gun to say, this is not a car, let me not alert. So if you just have like a little red handheld laser pointer or something, that's not going to work. And same thing with like a rangefinder. Some of those like binocular ones, they'll do distance but not speed. They can cause your laser jammer to alert, but they're not going to be the best for actually testing as far as install. I've seen some people do stuff with stationary installs and stuff, but usually proper police laser gun is the way to test. They do make, I have one here. I have a couple here, because they make these little like handheld tester things. Here's the TMG one. There's a little button on the back, and when you push the button, it'll actually like transmit pulses to simulate a laser gun. Here's the ALP one. Looks like this, and when you push the button, it fires. Maybe you can see like, not this, I'll try to cover it, but that little thing right there, it's kind of simulating different laser guns. And if you look at the back, you can see it's got a bunch of different laser guns that it simulates. And you can just switch between DragonEye and LTI guns and stalkers and whatever. And so, yeah, these are good for just testing to make sure your heads are plugged in, but to make sure they're like straight and jamming properly, you are going to need a police laser gun. And yeah, you can find a PL3, Custom Pro Laser 3 for like $200 to $300. That's definitely a good starter gun. It's a very popular gun, inexpensive. It's a great gun. So if you just hop on eBay or whatever, you can pick up a PL3 for, $300. And that'll be good. Let's see. XL Rocks. Any new settings for the Max 360C? I don't think that detector's been updated in a while. And so my settings guide should be just fine. Where to buy those like little laser testers? You can buy them on TMG's website or ALP's website. If you're looking for like a police laser gun, eBay or RDF are going to be your two go-to places. Eliezer Blum, any idea why my R7 alerted full blast when the cop was behind me, but he was in front? It was weak. Probably a combination of two things. One, he was using instant on. Second, he could have been shooting his front antenna. So think about it. If you're following the cop like this is the cop, this is you. You're behind him, and his radar gun is transmitting that way. So all you're going to be picking up is a little bit of the front transmissions plus the reflections coming back to you, right? Then if you pass the cop, all of a sudden now he's blasting you from behind, and that's a really strong signal. So you're going to be getting a much stronger alert from your R7. So that would be my guess. It has to do with like orientation of the radar gun. So if he's using the front antenna, you'll get a stronger signal when you are in front of him. So that's my thoughts on that. Let's see, Forex. I know it's what's going to happen. I'll buy an R8 or something similar, and then Redenso will come out with the announcement right after that. That's always the concern. Like, look, they could come out with it tomorrow. I have no idea. I doubt it, to be honest. But there's always going to be something new on the horizon. At this point, I don't think it makes sense to continue waiting for Thea. If it does come out tomorrow, okay, you can just buy another detector. You can sell your old one and get most of your money back. My stance on this is just like buy a detector now, get the protection you need now, and then if you decide you want to upgrade to Thea, if it comes out tomorrow, if it comes out in a year or two, maybe it never comes out. I genuinely don't know. But if and when it comes out, you can buy it then. One of the nice things I've noticed about buying lots of different radar detectors is you have a much better appreciation for the nuances of each one. Everything's in terms of like UI and design and build quality and features and performance and blind spot filtering and the lockouts and the app functionality. Like you get a much better appreciation. Um, I guess it's kind of like dating different people. After you date a couple people, you get a much better sense of what you want and what you like. And it's kind of similar with radar detectors, or trying lots of different beers. Try a lot of drinks, try a lot of different foods, explore and try a lot of different ones, and you get a much better sense of what you like, and you have a much better appreciation for them. So I don't know. I'm a big advocate of trying lots of them, but I know that's not for everybody. Let's see. George, loving my R8, but so far I've had a couple GATSO hits in East Tennessee that were definitely false. Any idea what could be causing them? I don't actually know. I tried it briefly too, and I definitely get some GATSO falses on anything that uses that platform, whether it's R4, R8, or even Redenso DS1. Not entirely sure what causes them. Usually blind spot falses are common, but sometimes there's other things that trigger it too, and I don't actually know. Yeah, so GATSO falses, for whatever reason, are way worse than like multi-radar falses with the Attawave platform detectors. Preston, currently in a healthy relationship with my R7. Yeah, for healthy relationships. That's awesome. Home phone. Do you think Uniden will come out with something to respond to Thea? I think most companies are doing the best they can with existing hardware, and the Unitive platform detectors are no exception. They're taking the same kind of platform, and they're like, hey, let's add LNAs to give you better range, or let's add Bluetooth or something. And Escort is trying to do some stuff with some of their SDRs, but not to the same level that Redenso is doing with their neural networks that they're building into Thea. So it would require a radical new platform under the hood. It's hard to get the engineers to find people who can do this and to do it well. And Redenso has actually patented a lot of this stuff too. So it would be hard for somebody to replicate. I guess they've now had a couple of years at this point to start working on that. We're like, oh, wow, Redenso's announced something cool. Maybe we should try doing it too. So I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes, but I think it's technically challenging. And you're also, as a manufacturer, going to run into some patent issues too, trying to implement some of the stuff. Terry, how's the baby? He's good. He's super chill. Our baby, he's like 4.5 months old now. Our older one is much more, I guess, energetic, and she's a toddler now, so full of energy. She's napping now, which is why I'm able to do this video. My wife is upstairs with the baby who is awake now, and she's with him. So I got a little time to live stream with you guys. Explore Casper. Patents applied for. Yes, Redenso has patents applied for, and it takes a while for a lot of the stuff to get approved, and sometimes you got to go through multiple revisions or whatever, but patents definitely take time to get fully locked down. Leon16. Hello, when do you think Uniden will come out with an update for the R4? No idea when they're going to release this stuff. I mean, even the current firmware, it's still not available for the R4. The current firmware is still not available for the R8. There's newer firmware versions available for the R7 and the R3 that people who've been buying new detectors have been getting, primarily small bug fixed stuff. I have no idea when that's going to be released either. So it's kind of weird with like Uniden updates, when that's going to be made available. So I have no idea even when current stuff is going to come. Momo, the designer of the R3 and R7 went to Redenso. So that's not entirely correct. He was not the designer. So Attawave, the company, which is now actually owned by Uniden, that company has all the engineers that did the designing. The guy who went to Redenso, Cooney, he was a product manager. So he was the one who has like the design criteria on here's what I want. Here's a detector. Attawave goes and builds it. And then he's like, hey, I've been listening to beta testers or reading the forums, and I have additional feedback on stuff that I want. But hey, third-party company, can you go and build this detector? So he's definitely hands-on. He went to Redenso. There's somebody else now who's in charge there. But he was more of the guy who was like, here's what I want. Somebody else does the engineering and the manufacturing. And yes, there's somebody else who's doing that now. So different roles here. I don't think that when I did the videos, I was sufficiently clear on his role. But he definitely did do a good job with firmware updates and like listening to customer feedback. And we're starting to see some differences there with like, hey, what are the new updates coming out? So I do find though that some of the corporate behind the scenes stuff, I mean, even if I know about it, it's not always the best to share, talking with CEOs and stuff. Like sometimes it causes more problems and it helps to talk about that kind of stuff. And there's confusion, whatever. And so at this point, I kind of talk about that stuff less. Um, it kind of reminds me of like doing pop testing where like, yeah, it could be interesting to test, but it's not useful for people to focus on, I guess. And so I've just kind of over the years been learning about I could talk about stuff, but some stuff it's maybe better not to. Not because of NDAs, just it's causes fewer problems. Trying to make life easy and fun, you know. So anyway, JP, any guess if Escort plans to update the custom installed hardware? Man, I hope so. I know one of the biggest things is the 6-head bridge box for Escort. That's been promised for years. The laser jamming system can only support 4 heads. They've been working on a 6-head version forever. No idea when that's going to come out, or are they going to add multi-radar detection or Wi-Fi capabilities? Like, that would be awesome. I have no idea when they're going to. Escort seems to be focused more on the windshield mount stuff over the custom installed these days. I know one of their latest updates released for the Max CI like didn't even push properly, couldn't install it. So it seems like the custom installed stuff is kind of starting to lag behind from Escort. Windshield mounts, I mean, there's much more development going on with that than there are for custom installed. So I don't know. Ooga Booga, do you think Redenso should make a combo radar detector / dash cam product? I guess it's, do I think they should versus do I think they will? 2 different questions, you know? Do I think they should? I don't know. Maybe stick to one thing that you do really, really well and like nail that, like nail it, you know, before you move on. I don't know, but I guess you could if you want to expand it to different markets. So, oops, looks like my daughter's waking up. I can see the lights starting to blink here and stuff. So I may need to go soon, but we'll give her a couple minutes. She's usually okay, laying in bed for a few and kind of waking up. So I'll hang out here for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to have to head out. But yeah. Dennis, will I get significantly better performance with an R7 versus a DFR9? Oh, 100%. Better range, better false alert filtering capabilities, the arrows, the auto lockouts. I mean, it's a better detector for sure. Plus the DFR9, it's like $300 or something. Right now, it's something stupid. Like you go look on Amazon and it costs more than an R3 just because nobody's been getting inventory. And it's just like the DFR7, where the only people that still have them right now are people who are asking way too much for the detector. I like the detector as a budget option around $200, but it's over $300. It costs more than an R3 right now. Like it makes no sense to get it. So go grab an R7 instead. Or an R3 if you're looking for a budget option. It's cheaper than a DFR9, which is stupid. But yeah. Let's see. Steven, Escort Max Cam, good to buy today. Update video. There hasn't really been any updates to that thing. There's been some updates to Drive Smarter, the app. But there's been some minor stuff, but it still has a lot of problems and a lot of issues. And Escort still has like an apology kind of thing on the front page of their website. So there's been some updates, but a lot of the main stuff has not been fixed yet. So the detector itself is pretty good. The app is bad. So let's see. Leon, wondering about the effectiveness for one RX and one TX for rear protection on a small car against a Dragon Eye. It could be feasible for a smaller car. It could be an option. I see it on some motorcycles. I know on ALP's website, they talk about that for like rear installs for 911s. You're in the license plate area. So it's feasible on a smaller car. I still prefer, if possible, go for 2 regular and 1 TX, but you could potentially get away with 1 and 1 if needed. So, okay. So I'll just do one more because I do have to go soon. I can see her starting to cry here. So I usually give her a couple minutes to kind of wake up and all, but let's see. Let's scroll through here. Let's see. Laser jammers, people asking about stuff. Okay, Momo, yeah, get 2 regular in the rear. 1 is bad, yeah. Coming from 9500IX, and I need something new. If you could only pick 1, no thought about the cost. Man, it's hard to recommend one radar detector where the cost doesn't matter because so much of this depends on where you drive and personal preference. If the price was equal, had 0 bearing, some people would prefer a V1, some want an R8, some want a red line, some want a max cam, some want a custom installed one. So a lot of this comes down to your personal preferences, not one detector that's somehow the universal best for everybody. So it really is the case. So I talk about that stuff on my website. I do actually need to update my website with the R8 for like the best radar detector stuff. Now that it's out, I need to get that updated. But yeah, I like R8, Redline 360C, and V1 Gen 2. Pros and cons for sure. Availability issues, some teething issues for the R8. Like, it's not a cut and dry situation. But I think all three of those are really good, and you just kind of have to pick and choose which one is best for you. So yeah, different options are best for different people. I want to do an updated video coming up, kind of going over like those three detectors specifically, and then do an updated one, kind of going over best detectors in general with different features and different price points, because there isn't one detector that's the best for everybody. It really comes down to what's best for you. And then kind of going through that thought process is something that I definitely want to work on. So no ETA on that, but it is something that I do want to eventually put together and share with you guys. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't already. Plug there. But anyways, I do need to head out here. Um, Family time. But anyways, thanks so much for just hanging out and chatting for 25 minutes here on a Sunday afternoon. So hope you're all doing well. More videos to come, more testing, more everything. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for chatting, and I will see you all later. Take care.